How important was the performance of your bullpen today?
Yeah, I mean, 12 up, 12 down. I mean, I think that's much like Wednesday night in Atlanta. They did a heck of a job. I guess they had one more run to work with today, but they were perfect. I mean, they were absolutely perfect. So, absolutely great job.
The last few games, the offense has been kind of steady pressure. Just how much have you liked kind of that? It's been constant pressure.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. We frankly had some base running mistakes that can't happen late in the game that probably cost us some other runs. But absolutely, I mean, we had base runners, we had pressure. You make them make pitches. We got some huge 2-out hits today. So overall, it was a good offensive day.
Craig, you talked pregame just about Boyd's pickoffs. How important was that pickoff in that play that time too?
I mean, it shows up again. I mean, and this is in a little different version today. But look, those are out. I don't want to call them free outs because they're some stuff that Matt works on and is really good at, and Michael does a nice job with them. But they change innings. First and second, 1 out, man on second, 2 outs. I mean, they absolutely change innings. So he's done a great job with that, and he's disguised them very well throughout the course of the year to, continue getting outs, even though when the other team knows that he's very good at it.
I know we asked a bunch about the bullpen earlier, but with injuries and you're slotting guys in different spots, it doesn't have to be like this, like guys being able to take on wherever they're throwing. So what does it just say about each guy, like truly embracing that?
Well, I think we got good pitchers out there, so that's what's most important. The season changes, and your jobs and innings might change, and you got to be ready to kind of capture opportunities. So I think we're doing that, and guys are doing a great job of it.
Do you think Brad is about going as well as anybody in the league out of a bullpen?
I don't know if I'm paying attention to the rest of the league close enough, but I think he's pitching at a really high level. There's no question about it. He's having a wonderful season. I mean, not whatever this run you want to say, but just he's had a really wonderful season. Pitching at a high level and confident, no question about it.
Kittredge talked about after having a bad outing his first time, you getting them back out there the very next time there was an important moment. He said that went a long way, even though he's a veteran. How does that experience go as a manager to keep your guys believing in themselves?
Andrew's a good pitcher. I think that's why you put him back out there. And look, we need to, we needed him. I think that's the biggest thing is we needed him to be a important member of this bullpen. And so I think that's a statement of that a little bit. Is that like, man, we need you, man. But he's a good pitcher, and he's filling up the strike zone. He's stubborn to his strengths. And that's what I like about him most is that he's very stubborn to his strengths. And that's a good way to go about it, and it's a way that's resulted in a lot of success.
Did you get something out of Palencia's diagnostics?
He had a good day. It was a good day of catch. So we will move forward tomorrow with more catch, maybe a little higher intensity. But he had a very good day.
Interesting to watch your first inning and then watch you get ready to throw another pitch. Did it feel like you were just trying to get some momentum going, feeling like you were ready to go out there during that first 2 or 3 hitters?
Yeah, I got to say, I think really it wasn't as much as momentum. I was off for the first 2 hitters, and kind of got my footing back against Morel, but it was I just missed with a little bit of a pitch there, and he got it up on a day that room for error on a fly ball is small, right? And I know where to go with him. I was trying to go in and I missed out over, but it's unfortunate that sometimes this is how baseball works, is that you just I wasn't as sharp for those first 2 hitters, and you can throw Morel in there too, and then before you know it, it's 3-0. But guys picked me up today on that sense, and that was it's just awesome feeling when offense does that after you you never want to put your team in that position to start off a game, but man, they were awesome. They kept the pressure on all game long.
Matt, what was the key to the pickoff day in that situation?
Yeah, it's a play we have, and we do a good job of just knowing situations, opportunities that we're going to go over and use them in, and presented itself today. And hats off to the guys on the bench, and hats off to all the prep work with that. But yeah, it was Bushy did a great job executing it.
When you have 11 pickoffs, I mean, obviously you get a reputation of that. Some guys should be confident.
Mhm.
What are you able? Is there increased deception? Do you make changes in order to kind of make it look even more like you're?
I wouldn't say I'm like making changes. I think just what makes it good is, I probably just use these words. I have funky delivery, right? So like the little bit of funk that adds to deception to the hitter adds to the deception as a base runner as well. So I'm sure those things are all adding in, and like I've said, it's if you can keep a guy closer, that's great. And I mean, it's but if you get an out, it's a bonus. So that was Bushy was awesome on that, and the timing on that one today.
Where does it come from where, like, Shota had a bad inning and then he pitched, 5 great innings after that?
Yeah.
You were able to do that today to keep your team in the game.
Yeah.
How does a pitcher morph into that in big leagues?
I think a big thing is just understanding like what you expect of yourself on every pitch. Because there's been plenty of times where, this season where I didn't have it, and you get 3 outs, and maybe it goes multiple innings, right? And you're constantly trying to make adjustments. And if you hold yourself to it's like, hey, this is what I'm going to do on this pitch. Doesn't matter what happened before this. I'm not going to get ahead and look to what I need to do in the future. All I need to do is what do I expect of myself on this pitch, and I'm going to go do that. And then when that pitch is over, you do it again. Hopefully you do it around 100 times, right? And that becomes your definition of success. I mean, very few guys are able to be perfect every single pitch. And even if you are perfect in this game, you're still you can still lose on a stat line because someone else can put a perfect swing, or, there's so many different things that can happen. So whether it's winning or losing, whether it's a hit or a hit or a home run, you go out there and, or a strikeout, and you say, okay, this is what I'm going to do on this pitch, and what's happened. I'm going to learn from it and move forward and attack on this next one.
Where do you feel like you really honed in on that mindset, or like got better at it? Because I feel like after last start, it could even creep into someone's head, like, oh, not again, like first inning, but you seem to be very good at what you were just describing.
I mean, it's, I don't know. Definitely those years in Detroit were formative, right? And it's when you're on, we weren't on very good teams, and a run at any point in the game is usually the difference in the game. So you have to hold yourself to that kind of high level. And I think those are the times that prepared me, and kind of, I'm not perfect now, but you try to evolve in that and strengthen that sort of muscle, and if you will, and sometime in those years back then. But it's it's one thing. What do you expect on this pitch? You go do it, then learn from it and go do it. Do the next one. Do it over again. Sorry.
I think you've lowered your slot like over the years. Do you think that at all, when you talk about your funky delivery, do you think that at all contributes to your pickoff and deception?
I'm sure to a degree. The lower slot's always been something that's comfortable for me. It's always something that, you just did talking with Tommy and the pitching department here. It's something that was focused on early in the year to get more athletic, move how my body's supposed to move and whatnot. So I'm sure that helps in some degree.
How much have you gained an appreciation for what Nico Hoerner does on a game-to-game basis?
Yeah.
Base 3 more times a day.
Mhm.
Nice.
Man, Nico is awesome. He doesn't give up in a bat, and I think that's something that is, it's a quality that is special and extremely unique in this game. And not only is he, a great competitor and so prepared on the offensive side, but on the defensive side, he does so many little things that are wins in the margins that will never show up in a box score that help us win ball games and, keep guys that it's just the list goes on and on, whether it's keeping a runner, a step back or, anticipating a pitch to be thrown and knowing what the swing, is going to put him in a certain position and whatnot. Like he's a gamer. He's a ball player in the true sense of the word. And it's, he plays the game the right way and he's fun to have, back there. He's definitely a premier second baseman in this game.
After your playoff experience with Cleveland last year, what's your sort of like checklist here for this final segment of the season so that you're at your best at the most important time of the year?
I think most importantly, it's understanding, you really got to put the results aside, no different than you did in April, May, and June, and go out there and you say, okay, like, how do I define success? And you go out there and you attack it, and you don't get swayed by the stat line one way or the other, and you just stick to the process of what you expect of yourself. And that's not the most attractive answer or anything like that, but it's kind of what's necessary going in forward, right? And you attack that, each day, each start, and as monotonous as that sounds, when it's done, you assess it and go forward to the next one.
How much of that are you sharing with guys like Cade Horton or some other guys who don't have that big league experience level and like playoff experience as you guys are trying to work towards that?
I mean, definitely. Cade's an awesome learner, and I'll say this: I'm also learning from Cade every time he takes the ball out there. But to that point, it's like the game doesn't change. Whether it's right now, I really don't like talking about October at the end of September. When we're on September 12th right now, but the game doesn't change then. Just like it doesn't change when you're playing in Mesa, Arizona, in February, or Tokyo in March. It's the same game. What you expect of yourself doesn't change, and you go out there and you do it. And the more you can pay attention and just understand where you're going on which side of that spectrum, and always bringing it back is, that's the game within the game, and that's what you want to hold yourself to.
Were you thinking triple when you saw it bounce off the wall?
Yeah. Kind of an unusual bounce off the brakes and Ivy out there, but it worked out. That was nice.
What were you thinking in the moment? Can you give the thumbs up when you're on?
I like sliding into third base because you're so close to everybody. There's not a lot of foul territory here, so kind of face to face with your guys right after a big moment. So yeah, it was cool.
Nico, can you talk about just the impact that Boyd has made on the team all year, and then kind of the not so hidden talent of picking guys off, kind of extra outs as well?
Yeah, Matty's his performance has been incredible, but I feel like his impact on the group has been a lot more than that, which is kind of hard for starting pitchers to do, right? Like you only play every 5 days, but just his energy and his process, and it's really cool to watch and pretty contagious. So really high character outing today, and awesome. We got him some run support.
Pretty nice bounce back the last 3 games offensively. What does that say about the team?
Yeah, I mean, even in the Braves games we've won, we had a lot of traffic on the bases too, and just like the quality of at bat I thought was pretty solid against some good pitchers too. So it all matters a lot. Obviously, just the final run scored is obviously the biggest thing, but just creating opportunities and doing it in a variety of ways. I thought that was a nice example of that today.
After Boyd gives up a few for you guys to be able to answer pretty much right away, what can that do just throughout a game to be able to have that on the board? Yeah,
that's a really great response by our group, and when you got him on the mound, you're probably going to get another quality 4 or 5 innings after that, so you definitely feel like you're still in it, but super uplifting first game of the series, and it felt great.
How important has it been to have Ian kind of back looking like himself at the plate for the last 3-4 weeks for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, for anyone that's watched the Cubs and watched him for a long time, should be no surprise in his ability to stick it out through a season and learn and find the best version of himself every year, and put together complete years year after year after year, and definitely one of the best versions of him I think we've seen right now, and he's a special player. It's been fun to watch.
I know that you want to hit home runs, rightfully so.
Yeah.
Also, when you look up on the board and you're hovering around 300 with the batting average, what does that mean to you this kind of season?
Yeah, I mean, I think, if you go into a year or a day really too focused on batting average, it can be a real trap. But I think it's a reflection of quality of a bat, quality of contact, and I think there are more valuable batting stats, but it is a part of how I get on base too, which is important. Part of how I drive in runs, and feels good.
But it is unique nowadays, isn't it? To have a high batting average.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's only one guy in the National League over 300, I think. Reflection of quality of pitching right now, maybe what's emphasized for players offensively, quality of, defensive alignments. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that, but, definitely.
You make it look easy out there no matter where you're pitching. Just what's the key to be able to shut things down no matter when you're pitching in the game?
I just try to have the same approach every time I go out, regardless of what point of the game it is. I just want to be aggressive, attack guys. I know the recipe to get outs in this league is count leverage and getting ahead of hitters, and that's just my goal every time, is to just be aggressive.
Do the last 3 outs, can they feel different?
It does. Just because the crowd, the environment, everyone, you're always getting their best goes at it too. I try to make it as similar to every other inning, try to slow my heart rate and keep it calm and everything. But you definitely notice a difference. But that's the goal, is to try to keep them all the same.
And it's important to do it this time of year too, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a long year, and all these games matter, whether it's April or September, but you feel it more, down the stretch, kind of where you stand as playoffs get closer, and so everyone feels, the senses are heightened a little bit more, and you feel that a little bit more, yeah.
Over the last 2 games, bullpen's eaten a lot of innings. I think the last one, base runner. Do you guys almost feed off each other?
Yeah, I mean, I think that all good bullpens would kind of feel that. It's contagious when guys are throwing well. Just like, the opposite, when it's not going well, sometimes that can be contagious, unfortunately. But, I think everyone's got a really good approach right now with just, I talked about it earlier, just being aggressive and attacking hitters and putting them on the defensive. And that's seems to be what we've been doing really well lately. And let's keep it going.
What's the mentality with that group as a whole, with Daniel out right now?
I think it's just kind of all hands on deck. I mean, I think everybody, kind of understands, how to get out to this level, and, nothing really changes, person to person. It's just kind of, when you get the ball, when you get asked to go in, just stick to your approach.
Obviously, you guys are disappointed to lose somebody who's been really effective, but is there a bit of an energizing factor to that kind of next man up and what you're talking about there?
I don't know if energy is the right way to put it, but yeah, I mean, I think guys are aware that, they're going to maybe be asked to do something that, they weren't asked to 2 weeks ago or whatever it was. So I think, maybe just senses are heightened a little bit, but, I think everybody, understands what their job is and is going to continue to do that.
I know you haven't been here all year, but how impressed have you been with what Brad Keller has been able to accomplish this season?
It's awesome. I mean, since I've been here, it's been pretty incredible. It's gotten to this point where it feels automatic when he comes into the game. So, I mean, just very, very fun to watch. What his stuff is really good, and he's getting after hitters too. Really throwing the ball over the plate and forcing action, and he's got the stuff to do it too.
I would imagine you're now warming up, while he's out there throwing. What's it like just watching? Because Craig often talks about how you guys can help each other when one has success, that it's helping the other guys. So what's it like when you see him just doing his job in front of you?
Yeah. Some of it is, I think a lot of it is just back to what I said. I like, my approach is so simple, where it's just, attack and be aggressive, and that's my mindset. So to watch, somebody who's doing that exact same thing and watching it work, I think it just reinforces my plan more than anything. We get outs differently. I mean, we have different stuff and different ways of doing it, but but that approach and that attack is very similar.
And I think you had mentioned this to Bruce, but when you first came over and you had the outing where it doesn't go as well, and then you come back out the next day, the confidence that Counsell had in you, like right away when you joined this team, what did that do for you even now?
It's huge. I like to think maybe I've earned that a little bit, but I'm happy that he was able to get me back out there, because that's the one thing, you don't want to let those bad ones kind of sit and fester. It's important to get back out there as quick as you can, and I'm grateful for him for giving me the opportunity and not losing faith, and hopefully just get on a good roll and keep it going.
Have you always had the simple mindset? You seem like this. How long?
Not always.
I
think I learned a lot of ways that it didn't work, and I think for me it helps me keep my mind calm on the mound and stick to my plan rather than letting too many distractions get in my way.